early, and it is, I mean, bright and early. That's 7:01. We got Ryan in an undisclosed location, but we got him on video today instead of just audio, which, I mean, I know I love to see his face, and I'm sure you boys do too.
Holiday Land over here, actually. I do have a little bit later start than Clayton, luckily. I'll give away that much information, but only by a little. Happy to get up early and have a little chat with the boys.
Yeah, Thanksgiving had to get one out today with the 4 games obviously coming up. Um, I think this is a great episode. Got some fun things planned, but first we'll get into some
Well,
waivers.
Clayton, I think first we might have to say a little bit about what we're thankful for this fantasy season to
Okay.
start us off.
Yeah, I like it.
And since I'm putting you on the spot, I'll go first. And besides all the camaraderie that this league brings together, where everybody's in the group chat every Sunday, and we get to have the draft and get to have this podcast, I will say my most thankful thing this season has been my short but very romantic and passionate fling with Cam Scattaboo. Introduced the rookie to the league, took over the entire world by storm. Really, I think he's a streamer now. Um, and it made my life a whole lot better. So that's mine.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Obviously, the boys. We got a great group. I really do love the group we have. I think solid from top to bottom. Just the people we have in the league is wonderful. Bringing the pod back, and the success it's had this season. Thankful for everybody that's been tuning in. Do like that. Um, I will say I usually don't draft the Patriots players. I stay away from the Patriots players. Maybe very early on when Brady was there, back when we were in middle school and beginning freshman, beginning years of high school, I might have had a couple. Just
I know his last year you took him,
okay,
but he was on the Bucks.
okay, yeah, I
When he
did.
was on the
I
Bucks.
did take Brady a couple years when he was on the Bucks, but I think I took him both years actually, or had him on my team both years. I don't know if I had to draft him necessarily the one year, but um, I will say having the Patriots players and having them perform. Drake May's been huge for me, and then now Trayvon's been huge for me down the stretch. And then last week, Andy B, the kicker, who I didn't start off the season the biggest fan of, but I'm thankful he can make some kicks. So I will say I'm thankful that my team is given support from my real team there. So that'll be
Oh,
mine. Um,
it's more fun, I think, when both of our teams are good. It makes you more interested in the league. It makes it better.
yeah, definitely agree with that. But get into some waivers. Um, we have you actually had the most money on a player.
I think, yeah, this might be my first week of being the top waiver ad. I was interested in Devin Neal. I think Kamara is still projected to be out this week. Um, I watched him at Kansas. He was pretty good when he was there. Had a decent week filling in for Kamara last week after he got hurt, but they were behind most of that game, so they didn't run a whole lot. But I think he'll be a good ad. They're playing the Dolphins this week, so pretty easy matchup, and I think he might slot right into my lineup.
Yeah, I do remember watching him play at Kansas on NCAA College Football 25. Um, that's I think the only time I saw him play. Me and Tanner each had $5 on Gainwell, which I think Gainwell will be good. I didn't. I really. That's all I had was $5, and I ended up actually using priority one was on the Rams D. I think I miscalculated the weeks with defenses. I thought I had it all figured
Mm.
out, and then I got to this week, and I was like, I don't know who I thought was going to be good here this week, and I saw
Browns
the
versus Niners
that's not
in the
terrible.
snow.
Obviously not terrible. Obviously not terrible. But I was like, you know what? We'll go grab a defense there. So use my $5 on the Rams D, which I outbid you one. I will say there's the Chargers D. I saw that one too. I think they were in for me too. Maybe not because they don't see here. Oh no, it was Jacksonville was the other D I had, but I think the Chargers D is a solid defense. I think there was a couple there sitting in free agency this week for Flyers. I mean, you can see Casey added the Falcons, and then Lucas added the Saints. So yeah, a couple defenses. We had $1 back on Jackson Dart, which Lucas has had in his starting lineup before. So we'll see if he
Yep.
makes another appearance there. Casey making some minor moves, and then you know, not a huge week for free agents late in the season. It's obviously tougher.
Did Casey drop any quarterbacks? Because it looks like he also tried to add Jackson Dart, but was unsuccessful. And I know last week he already had 3 quarterbacks in the on the squad.
Casey, I don't know. Casey's been very interesting with the quarterbacks down the stretch. Obviously, last week we saw him not play Baker, which ended up being a good decision. But he's got Herbert, Mayfield. So just 2 right now, but it would have been 3. So I don't know. I think he might have dropped someone last week.
I think he started Purdy last week, so he must have dropped him.
Dropped Purdy, which
Yeah, a little ugly.
But going into the playoff race, a little bit shorter and sweeter than we did a week ago, but we have the fate already decided. And Ryan, since you're already in your fate already decided, why don't you go ahead and talk through the 3 people who pretty much have it locked up?
Yeah, me and Lucas, like I mentioned last night, are the 1 and 2 seeds. That order could change a little bit, but right now Lucas has a pretty big stranglehold on the 1 spot, both in standings for record and points for. Um, if he loses out and I win out, I can take the standing spot from him or the record spot from him. Um, doesn't matter that much because both the 1 and 2 seed get buys. I would have to go on a pretty miraculous run to catch him in points for, which kind of sucks because I'm pretty far ahead of 3rd place in another year where Lucas didn't have this super team. This effort from me would have been good enough to make some money already, but that's all right. The bigger pot is in the playoffs, and then finally Casey. He's started off strong enough where he's really just kind of hung on for dear life in the last month or so. So looks like he's basically in with the 13 wins already. Just he probably needs to grab 1 more over the next 2 weeks, whether that be points win or a record win, and he'll be a lock.
Yeah, I went back and forth on ChatGPT with this one, just with Casey, because I think obviously if he goes 0-4, he's 13-15, but it's just, pretty much has it all clinched out, just based on how the games work out, with the teams that are actually in the race. It's really tough for all of those teams to go 14-14 or better, with Casey staying at 13-11. So pretty much in at this point. Looking at eliminated Cub at 9-15, it says he has a 10% chance on ESPN, but I actually went through that with ChatGPT and I said, why does he have a 10% chance here? And then it was talking about how, ESPN can't factor in, he doesn't factor in, who Cub is playing. So his real odds are unfortunately 0. So it sucks for Cub.
Sad day.
Last week he really needed to grab at least 1 win, if not both wins. Bo, we've kind of known was mathematically out already, and then Scott 4-20, definitely out. ChatGPT calls him Matthew because ChatGPT calls him Matthew because that's what his name is on ESPN. But so when those 2 have been out for 2 weeks, but I think Cub has now officially joined them. But more exciting stuff. We have the playoff bubble. There's 4 teams for 3 spots, according to ChatGPT. Very tight, very tight. This is very tight. It's 12-12, 12-12, 12-12, and then 11-13. When you look at Sam's team, he's kind of held on to a playoff spot most of the season. He's got 1,250 points for, so that ranks him 3rd on this slide, which is important. Points for is our tiebreaker. He plays you this week and then Tanner, so he's got 2 important games. ChatGPT says he's in if he wins. If he goes 2-2, so very doable, very doable. Um, Also, and if Joey loses once, I think that might mean that like Joey loses a head-to-head game. Um, I think Joe. Well, I guess if he goes one and if Joey goes 3-1, he'd be 14-14. I think technically Sam could still, you know, not make it there. But key game is he's got Tanner week 14. Be a big one. I mean, obviously that one's big. Even if both
Yeah,
those
that should
teams,
probably be directly for a playoff spot.
yeah, directly for a playoff spot would be or seeding, depending on how Joey does.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanner, he plays me and Sam, so he really has the fate in his own hands because, if he beats us two, I mean, he's guaranteed a spot. That's 2-2 for him. Plus, he would hand each me and Sam a loss. So, um, he's out if he loses to both me and Sam and does not put up points for, which he's been struggling to do as of recently,
Couple rough weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then you got me. I get to play Tanner, which helps in terms of ChatGPT says I need to go 2-2. So, obviously if I snag a big win this week against Tanner, it's a huge game for me in terms of getting in the playoffs. I also ended my last week with Bo. And then, I have right now a slight points for tiebreaker on Sam, and I'll say a reasonable one on Tanner. There's 70 points coming with 2 weeks. I mean, obviously he can catch me, but it 70 points in 2 weeks. The difference there is that's tough. Joey, the big one here is Joey because when you look at his points for, he obviously has the biggest advantage over all of us, but he's sitting a game back. He does have to play. Who we already mentioned, Lucas is he's up there. He's the 1 seed right now, real big team. So he has to play Lucas this week. ChatGPT says he's in if he goes 3-1 or better. So that means he has to, if you're looking at it, maybe he has to go 1-1 this week with a points for win. Just looking at how good Lucas has done, then he has to go 2-0 against Scott, which is obviously very doable. Scott's team is struggling this year.
It is nice to go from compared to Lucas having that tough mountain ahead of you to see that you get to face off against one of the lesser performing teams is got to be promising if you can get over this one.
Yep. The thing for Joey right now is he doesn't play either me, Tanner, or Sam. You see Tanner plays both of us. Sam plays Tanner. I play Tanner. So we kind of get to battle it out head to head a little bit. Joey kind of needs some other stuff to happen. I mean, obviously, me, Sam, and Tanner all can't go 4-0 because we all play each other. So that helps him. But, technically me and Sam can both go 3-1, and then Tanner could still go 4-0. So Joey's fate is not decided, or Joey's fate is not necessarily in his hands. He needs other things to happen. That's why he has the lowest odds. But very exciting. 4 teams, 3 spots, and very close. Very close.
Yeah, there's gonna be some excitement next week. I think as long as Joey doesn't go 0-2, and don't have the computing power that ChatGPT has, but I'm gonna give him a shot as long as he doesn't go 0-2 this week.
Yeah,
a fairly good one.
I think that's fair because if he can go 1-1, he goes 3-1. He's 14-14, and as I already said, I mean I play Tanner this week, so both me and Tanner can't go 2-0. So
right,
one of us go 2-0, one of us go 1-1, and then that still keeps Joey alive next week. And obviously all someone can go 0-2. I mean 2 of us could go 0-2 this week, and then that puts Joey obviously in a really good spot. So just has to at least go 1-1 this week though.
Has to get it. Yep. And I would appreciate if he just I won't catch Lucas, I don't believe, but I'd appreciate just if someone else beat him so he doesn't seem so Goliath when we get to playoff time.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately rooting for Joey to lose this week. I mean, obviously there's that. But all right, we'll get into the matchups. Our first one, we got Bo versus Cub. Projected to tie. Don't see that all the time.
I will say another reason I picked Bo here is because he does have Kamara in his lineup right now, and I assume that he will come out. So Bo should get a bump there.
That's a good point. Who knows? I mean, Bo is dad. Might have a late night.
It's Thanksgiving
It's
time. Yeah, that's
Thanksgiving
true.
time. His team's getting a little lazy here, but that is a good point. I'm picking Bo because I think Stafford has an easier matchup than Josh Allen, and Gibbs can outscore both Cubs running backs. I think Jefferson against Seattle and Tet versus the Rams isn't good, and that's between Allen and those two wide receivers. That's kind of Cubs guys, and
Yep.
Cub had a good run. He was in the playoff race until last week, so not a. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs and you got 6 teams that make it, 10 teams total, it's not a good season. But at least Cub was competitive, in November, which can't necessarily
I
be said for some other people in our league.
I will say I think Jacobs is playing. I don't know if he's in Cubs lineup right now. Um,
Oh, that
I
could
think
help.
he is
Yep.
planning to play today. So another spot that might get filled out and a little bit of a change there.
Yeah, that is another good observation. I will say last time these two teams played, it was a high scoring matchup, and it was a 3 point game. Cub barely squeezed one out, 129 to 126. So, but we have some Thanksgiving themes rocking. Um, we named Bo and Cubs matchup the Dirty Dishes Derby because it's a true game of irrelevance. But someone has to do their dishes, just like these two teams still have to
Yeah,
play fantasy football.
that's a kid's assignment. Typically, you can't trust them with the cooking. You don't want them to burn anything, so you let them get their fix and then send them off to do the dishes. You don't want to be doing the dishes.
Oh,
So tough.
definitely. Moving on to the next matchup, we got Casey versus Scott. We each picked Casey. I'll go ahead and talk about Casey's team. We have Herbert, who I mean, he's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but I have faith against him against Vegas. Vegas doesn't seem to be the toughest opponent. Um, you got Dowdle against Rams. I think that's a tough matchup. But ETN against Tennessee, I think that's a plus matchup. Jamar Chase against Baltimore. And do we know if Burrow's playing yet or not? I
I
know
believe Burrow is officially playing.
that will be interesting. I have Burrow right now in the IR spot as the guy who might come in for Drake May in Week 14. So that'll be interesting. Then you got
Yes, I believe he is playing.
Devontae Adams against Carolina plus matchup. Theo Johnson against New England, which I don't hate. I don't hate the tight end matchup against the Patriots. I think we do struggle to cover that position. We don't have a lot of good cover linebackers. Falcons against the Jets. I think that's a plus matchup. And then kicker's a kicker. So I think Casey really does have some good matchups here. Plus Scott's team's kind of mediocre, but I'll let you get into Scott's team and why we think it is mediocre.
Yeah, clearly I picked Casey too. He's got, I think you spelled his name wrong for me, but um, yeah, he does have a big advantage here against Scott. Like you said a couple weeks ago, Scott's team doesn't look terrible top to bottom when you're there, but the spot that really sticks out right now is David Montgomery. He has not gotten almost any touches, especially the last few weeks with Jameer Gibbs taking over. And why would he when Jameer Gibbs is breaking off 50, 60-yard touchdowns every other drive? It seems like you can't take a guy like that off the field. And against Green Bay today, I don't think that's going to be a game that they turn to him outside of something happening to Jameer Gibbs, which we all hope and pray doesn't. So, other than that, Nico Collins, Devonta Smith, pretty mediocre. Nico gets CJ Stroud back, which might be honestly pretty equal benefit compared to Davis Mills, um, especially coming off a 3-week hiatus. He might be a little bit rusty. And then DK Metcalf just has not been anything really. I'm sure that Pittsburgh Steelers wish they could reverse that George Pickens trade today. So not great for Scott. Just trying to finish out the year strong. I'm sure he's setting his lineup. That's all we can ask.
That is all we can ask. And then this one is dubbed the side salad showdown because it barely matters at Thanksgiving. I mean, if you're excited about salad on Thanksgiving, I don't know. Interesting. I mean,
That's not the first thing I reach for.
yeah, definitely not the first thing I reached for. I mean, maybe if you're vegetarian, I can get it. But even then, I mean, you got the mashed potatoes, you got, the sweet potato, you got so many other things. So the side salad showdown, because again, it barely matters on a day like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you could take a bite. We'll check in. Your eyes will wander over just to check the score every once in a while.
Yes. All right, going into the third game, we have Lucas versus Joey. We've talked about the importance of this game for Joey. He needs to at least snag one win, and based on Lucas's team, Joey's best chance to snag at least one win this week is getting points for himself. I'll let you talk about Lucas's team. I feel like I talk about Lucas's team a lot and why I love it so much. We'll let you highlight
it. Lucas's team being projected 136 points. I mean, I said it when my team was projected 136 earlier in the year. That is something that's an indication that you've assembled a super team in our league when you're hitting projections of 136 without any players playing yet. So meaning you didn't have someone pop off for 30 or something in the first week in your first game. And Lucas' team deservedly is projected 136. I mean, he's got studs at every single position right now. I mean, the worst player that he's got projected is Chris Olave, I think. And he's been absolutely solid at worst, you could say. He's been the number one in New Orleans by far. And then you look at everything he's got: Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride, Breece Hall. I mean, those guys are all competing for top, outside Breece Hall, top 5 at their position. And with Breece Hall, he's top 12-ish. So tough to beat him. You just kind of have to hope that these guys go into a slump going into the playoffs so that somebody can knock him off.
Yeah, the other impressive thing about Lucas right now is he's got Drake London on his bench, just that's doubtful. You got Hampton on IR, but he might play this week.
And something to add to this, because I don't know if that's the last one you're going to say. He had neighbors.
Yeah.
Who got hurt in week 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So he could easily have another. That might have been his second pick. It was his second pick. He picked second round pick. So lost that guy for the season very early and still managed to put this together.
Yeah, I was going to add, Garrett Wilson was actually the one I was thinking of. But Neighbors is a very good point. I kind of forgot about Neighbors that he even had him because, I mean, he obviously has so many studs. So, I mean, just it's a big wall Joey's going to have to climb. And he's going to have to do it on the backs of, I think JSN has to have a huge week from. I think Joey picked Brock Bowers super early. He's only really had like 1 or 2, the Brock Bowers types of games for him. I think he needs to have a huge week. Genty needs to have a huge week. James Cook needs to have a huge week. Daniel Jones plays a tough defense in Houston, but he'll have to have a big week. It's just, like I said, Joey's got to be at least top 5 in points for this week. Or maybe we see Lucas have a bad week finally. I don't know. It's just a tough task for Joey this week.
If I was Joey, I would have been in the Jackson Dart sweepstakes for sure. With Daniel Jones against Houston, I have no faith after what they did to Josh Allen. And maybe he'll see this on the podcast show. You take it as free advice. I don't think Daniel Jones plays until Sunday, so you still have time to pick up legitimately almost anybody else. But it is nice that Genty got hurt at the end of the last game, and he's going to be playing, I believe, as well. He's off the injury report. So good to see everybody have a full team in this one when it really matters.
Yeah, there's definitely some guys, not a lot of guys, that Joey can choose from. But, his old Vikings quarterback.
Brissett's been awesome the last few weeks.
Brissett's there. Brissett. Maybe he, I mean, I wouldn't do this, but, Kirk Cousins is I mean, the old Vikings.
Brissett's been 20 or more every game that he started.
Well,
I'd
against
be starting Brissett.
against Tampa, who's kind of beat up. I don't know. Maybe
Rest
Joey
of those
changes
options, yeah, maybe not after that. Joey could pick up Brissett.
Ryan's obviously rooting for a Lucas loss, even though he picked him. But we dubbed this one the stuffing skirmish. You know, it's technically it's a classic dish. You know, classic. We need Lucas basically needs one more good week to lock up the points for. But stuffing is kind of one of those dishes. Some people either they gotta have it or they gotta don't. I'm a don't really gotta have it. I'll put a little on the plate, but it's not like the dish I'm most looking forward to. Ryan, what about you? You a stuffing guy?
I'm with you on that one. Not much of a stuffing guy.
Not much of a
There's
stuffing
just
guy.
too many other good options.
And Lucas is probably looking at this game kind of like, I don't care what happens. Whereas Joey, he this week is a stuffing guy. He needs
He
this,
has to be a stuffing guy.
Yeah, he needs this win. Just like some people need their stuffing. So with that, we'll move in to our second to last game. We have your team. We have Sam's team. Obviously, this one might matter a little bit more to Sam than you, but I'll highlight one thing. The Chiefs play the Cowboys, and the Cowboys need this win a lot. The Chiefs need this win a lot. You're a Chiefs fan. Sam's a Cowboys fan. So maybe in terms of that, you guys, that game might matter a little bit more to you, obviously. Sam probably needs both, but I don't know which one he cares more about.
I will say I 100% care more about the real game. It's about 7 hours, 8 hours to game time. Normally on a game day, I'd be wearing my jersey, but I've been told by my mom that it's unappealing to wear a jersey all of Thanksgiving. So trying to go with something a little bit classier for now, but still be supportive. Obviously, the jersey will be on underneath this because it has to have skin-to-skin contact for the lug to keep up. But if they lose, a very good chance that it ruins Christmas. Or not Christmas. Well, probably Christmas too. Because if they're not in the playoffs, then it's a problem. But it will assuredly ruin Thanksgiving.
That's, fair enough. Well, we both picked you. Get into why you picked yourself.
Well, the Cowboys defense is no good. I know they got Quentin Williams and they've played better the last couple of weeks. I refuse to believe that that has changed their entire identity on defense. And the Chiefs are too desperate for this win to come out and play poorly. They always show up, most of the time they show up in the spotlight games like this. This is the first time they played on Thanksgiving that I can remember. It might be for my entire life, or at least for my entire, really paying attention to football life. So that'll be fun. Usually they get the Black Friday game the last couple of years, and they always have Christmas, so it's nice to add another holiday there. But I think Pat's going to have a big game. It'd be nice if the rest of my team wasn't questionable down the line from there. Marvin Harrison, still hoping and praying he gets back to play with some Jacoby. After he's been on fire, Jalen Waddle, coming out of a bye, now has a foot injury. Hopefully he can stay on the field because I didn't know going into the bye week that he had a foot injury. T. Higgins is out. Devin Neal actually replaced Isaiah Pacheco in my lineup this morning. He's also questionable. Brian Thomas is questionable. So it's not terrible season-ending injuries by any means, but it does make it frustrating to set a lineup. But I still believe I've got Bijan and Jonathan Taylor to bring me home here, and I think that's going to be just enough to get through.
Yeah, all I will say, Bijan and JT are the reason I picked you this week. Isaiah Pacheco is, I don't think, in this lineup anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He's not. It's Devin Neal now.
Okay, that's what I thought. Obviously, I do these screenshots. I did them last night. So if you did any changes between like 11:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. today, they're wrong.
I'm up and at 'em early, Clayton. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Clearly, I will highlight one more thing. Scadaboo's back on the roster. So
I appreciate it. I did that this morning too.
yeah, yeah. Scatterby's back on the roster, bringing the boy back, which I think might bring some luck back to your team.
I
Which
That is mostly why I think it needed a little juice, and that's something he can provide from the bench.
definitely agree. Looking at Sam's team and why we didn't like it quite as much. I still think he is probably going to add Devon Achin into his lineup somewhere. Um, I assume. I mean, he's playing the
I would
Saints.
be
That's
shocked if he
yeah,
doesn't.
that's a
Yeah,
pretty plus. It's a pretty plus matchup for him. Dak against KC. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Aaron Jones. I assume he keeps him in and then puts H in for Tracy, but be interested.
Tracy or yeah,
Be
yep.
interested to see that one there. Pukovitz, Carolina. I don't know how much they'll be throwing the ball in that game necessarily. Zay against Cincinnati. I think that's a good matchup. Hunter Henry had a big week last week for New England, so I mean, there's a good chance he has a big week this week. We're dealing with some offensive line injuries, so maybe some shorter, quicker throws for Drake May instead of those deep balls that he throws. So maybe Hunter Henry benefits there. He definitely did last week when we started losing offensive
Huge
linemen.
last week.
Yeah. Pittman's been solid, but he plays Houston, which is tough. Steelers against Buffalo. Interesting play there. Um, I don't know. Just slightly liked Ryan's matchups better. I think you put HN in for Tracy, and the projected total gets a little bit closer. I almost picked Sam this week. I think this is going to be a close game. Obviously, Ryan pretty much has second place and the bye all locked up. So he's obviously more worried about the Chiefs game. And so we dubbed this one the Cranberry Clash, similar to the last matchup we talked about. It's important for one, Sam, and not quite as important for the other, Ryan. I will change my tune on this one. I do like the cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving.
Really,
Are you a cranberry
I
guy?
don't. I don't think I've ever even tried it. I
You know,
don't think we make it. I don't know if we make it
if
at my house.
if it's sweet enough, I love it. Now, if it's too tart, then it's not for me. Um, but
Is it homemade cranberry sauce that you guys make, or is it like the jar stuff?
I don't know. I've never made it. It just sits on the table. Uh, and it to me, if it's sweet, I like it. If it's a little tart, I'm not a fan. So, again,
I'm shocked by that.
another.
I would not. That might be the most surprising thing you said. I never would have taken you as a cranberry sauce guy.
Well, you learn something new every day. Sam this week is a cranberry guy. Ryan this week, as we already talked about, is not a cranberry guy.
Not interested.
So Sam's got to get this one. All the games for Sam are important down the stretch. Ryan's kind of in coast mode right now. Unless miracles happened, he's pretty much locked in second in points for
Yeah.
and second in the standings. But moving on to the
Game of the
game
week.
of the week, we got me versus Tanner. Um, I picked myself. Um, I was not picking myself for a while, and then I started picking myself, and now I feel like I can't not pick myself because I've had a little streak going. So that was part of it. But the other part of it is, I get Drake May against the Giants. That matchup actually kind of scares me with the injuries we've had to our offensive line. The Giants do have some guys that can bring the heat, so I'm hoping Drake May can get rid of the ball sooner than he has in previous weeks, or, and this is a big or here, maybe he uses his legs a little bit more, and we get some rushing points.
Okay.
But Chase Brown against Baltimore, I don't hate it. If Flacco or Burrow plays, don't hate it. Judkins against San Fran, I don't love it, but don't hate it.
In the snow, though, with Shadur, you have to expect he at least gets a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether it's very effective, that's the question.
yeah. I will say I would like to see the Browns use a little bit more of Dylan Sampson. I think Dylan Sampson provides a little bit of pop that Judkins quite doesn't, and I feel like in the last couple weeks I've seen Judkins touch the ball 15 times before the first half, which is fine. I love the touches, and the two goal line touches last week. They didn't even have Shadur on the field, which was wonderful in terms of a fantasy guy. But I feel like Judkins just looks tired at the end of the games. I don't know. I mean, he's kind of a bruiser style. He kind of hits the hole with a little bit of power and takes it. So I don't know. I would like to see maybe a little bit more, diversified play calling with some Dylan Sampson early in the game. CD Lamb against KC. I don't know. It really just depends on if CD Lamb can hold on to the ball or not. If he drops it, I mean, he's not going to score points. And we've seen the drops recently, which has been brutal. Amon-Ra against Green Bay. I like Amon-Ra against anybody and everyone. Kittle
Yeah.
against Cleveland. I kind of like Kittle against anybody and everybody. Henderson against the Giants. Even with Mike Vrabel kind of saying he's going to use all three backs, Henderson got the majority of the work last week, so I like that matchup. Rams against Carolina, love that matchup. I don't think that one gets any better. And then Andy B, I will say I'm going to check the weather. It's a Monday night game. Make sure the weather's okay. Might look at a different kicker. You got a lot of domes now. Sometimes that might be the way to go with kicker because
Yep.
um, at home in New England on a Monday night game, the weather could be all over the place. But
It could be chilly. Yeah, it gets chilly in November. Well, that technically December game
I think
come Monday.
it's a December 1st.
Yeah, that could be a chilly night in New England.
Yep.
Yeah, for you it'll be interesting to see who draw for CD. It'll be interesting to see which of those receivers draws Trent McDuffie most of the game. Whether they put him on Pickens or Lamb might kind of help to determine who the Chiefs see as their number one threat. Um, Even if the Cowboys have kind of been vocal about getting CD more and more involved, it hasn't happened lately. And then for Tanner, his issues as of the last few weeks, because he was on a similar track with Casey, where he was kind of in the top four, pretty locked up for a while there. I think he was at like 10-4, and now getting to 12-12. Been on a bit of a slide, really been due to Lamar not playing either in the games or not playing well when he is playing. It's a guy that you really can't bench because you know what you could see out of him, 300 yards passing, a few touchdowns, and another 100 rushing to give you a 50 bomb. You hate to see that on your bench, so you can't bench him. I will say, I think this game will be a little bit closer than the projections uh, with Tanner. I think RJ Harvey will come out and get the majority of the work as the running back in Denver. George Pickens, I see. Yeah, that's an interesting matchup too. You guys have the two Cowboys receivers. I think one of them will have a big game. I just don't know which one. I don't think the Chiefs can contain both of them. And then AJ Brown against Chicago. The Chicago defense has not been very good either. So if they're going to get back on track, which I don't think they necessarily will, um, if they are going to do it, I think this could be a good candidate week for it. So he's got some decent matchups there. Lad, and then to finish out with Lad against Las Vegas. Las Vegas stinks and has quit on the season. So I could see them running the score up on them a little bit just for a nice division win.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Casey holds Javante like they did JT last week, and then I'm hoping somehow Cincinnati kind of steps up um, against Lamar because I think if Williams and Jackson get limited, as you said, I think the rest of the team kind of does good, but if we can limit those two and I can get decent weeks, I could get the dub. I do agree with you. I think it's going to be closer to the projections. I mean, there's a reason this one is game of the week. Obviously, the playoff implications, but we do think this is going to be a very close, very important game.
Huge game, both 12-12. Huge, huge for points for. Just, yeah, big everywhere. Probably the biggest game of the year, you could say.
Yeah, and with that, we gave it the turkey tilt. Thanksgiving, turkey. I know there's some non-turkey fans on Thanksgiving, but I mean, it is everybody with Thanksgiving. You think turkeys, and this is the main dish matchup, the most important game of the week. I gotta pull one out here. It's time. We got the Patriots on bye next week, so I'm dealing with some bye issues next week. So this is it for me.
And the Niners.
Yeah, and the Niners. Which I mean, even if you look at my bench right now, John Jennings is on my bench. So next week I think might have to get a little creative with flex spot. Hoping Joey Buckets looks good this week, so I have confidence playing him next week. But yeah, main dish here, just like turkey is on Thanksgiving. But we're
Yeah,
gonna have.
I'll say I like my turkey with a little bit of gravy, and I think our picks being in here is that little bit of gravy that we need to
I, I,
spice it up.
I love it. I love it. We went absolutely identical. I did look for a way to try and get one on Ryan, um, but at the end of the day, I didn't. The only one I really thought of was maybe Sam over Ryan. I don't know. This one was tough for me to pick that. To go down 3 into week 14 would be tough. I didn't love it enough. I don't know if I'm gonna love any next week, but we gotta take this one week at a time when you're behind. That's what I've been doing, and then I've climbed out of the hole, and I got to stick to that strategy there. So, only down 2, no movement this week. Moving that to next week, where I am gonna have to get creative, whether I like it or not. I think.
And these should say week 13 picks, but we have a lot of effort going around on the slides today with the pod and it being mobile and everything happening. So
And it's
it is
7:40, 7:40 in the morning on
just as a I'm not saying, not trying to throw shade. It is just to let everyone know these are for week 13. We didn't talk about it after, so maybe we just make a decision now. Should we do? I think we should pick the playoff games, not the toilet bowl games, but just the playoff games and include it in here.
That's fair. I like that. Let's add that. It gives me a little more hope.
And it gives you some more time. Yeah.
All right. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. I like it. Obviously, I think it benefits me more than you right now, so I appreciate that. I will say, we did talk about some food. Ryan, a dish or two you didn't see on here. Obviously, we only had 5 games, and I think a lot of people have more than 5 items on Thanksgiving. What is an item you're looking forward to that wasn't already talked about?
Well, I don't want to give away too much location information as I've talked about, but you might be able to deduce a little bit from this one. A staple at our Thanksgiving is cornbread casserole.
Love it.
And oh, my aunt makes it. It's delicious. Got a little bit of sweet, got a little bit of corn in there. Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
What about
my grandma does one with green chili, and you just said that cornbread casserole right now, and I'm thinking about that green chili one and looking forward to that one. We didn't talk about any potatoes. I like the sweet potatoes and the mashed potatoes, both with gravy. So
You guys don't do marshmallows on the sweet potatoes?
We do marshmallows. Sometimes you do almonds in there too. I'm not the biggest almond fan in them, but I'll put a little bit of both, no matter what, on my plate, whether it's sweet or mashed. I did think about kind of putting the potatoes on one of the kind of 50-50 matchups, but then I was like, no. I mean, a lot of people I think are going for potatoes, whereas cranberry sauce and stuffing's a little bit more 50-50. So potatoes for me. Dinner rolls would be another one that wasn't mentioned that actually was kind of talked about in terms of it's kind of the side salad one, but I was like, I don't know, like a dinner roll with Thanksgiving. Like I'm thinking about the dinner roll. I'm not thinking about the salad, So
yeah, you make a sandwich with one of those, a little bit of turkey on there.
Yeah, so
can't go wrong.
Exactly. And then a couple other interesting things to highlight. We got Casey fighting what can only be described as a skin disease. He will unfortunately not be at his Thanksgiving. I had a phone call with him last night. He's okay. Still contagious though. So he's gonna stay away.
Spreading it at the gym.
Yeah, he's gonna stay away from his family though, not spread it there. Me and Case go to the same gym. I was there this week, wiping everything down. I think people at the gym are like, "What is this kid doing?" And I was like, "If you only knew." If you only knew. But prayers out to Casey. He will be okay. Like I said, I had a phone call with him last night. As long as he stays away from people, he won't spread it either. So, maybe send a picture of your meal to Casey today because he will be missing out on Thanksgiving food. I might drop a plate off to him tomorrow. I think his fiance might be able to bring him a plate home too. But maybe send your plate picture to Casey and just describe how good it is.
And we're making fun of him and it sounds almost mean since you said skin disease. I would call it more of a temporary skin ailment, just so everyone knows the level of
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
level
yeah.
of,
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's a better.
of of condition that we're dealing with here.
That is a much better way to put it. I'll also give one more shout out to all the people that do have to work today. My wife is one of them. Works at a hospital. You can't just shut the hospital down on big holidays like this. So hopefully she'll be able to make it over for some food at my parents' house today. But if not, I'll make sure she gets fed. But shout out to everybody that does have to work today. Obviously, everything can't be shut down. Important places like hospitals and that type of stuff will have to remain open on days like today. So just be thankful if you do have the day off and you're able to spend it with friends, family, food, football, all of it. So
The best. Yeah, shout out to her. Brilliant person. So, yeah, thanks to all of those folks.
and then I'm gonna actually throw one more thing out here. I'll be right back. One sec.
I was out of the loop on this. I didn't know anything was coming. I feel like this is the first time we haven't had both of us on screen
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
the same time here.
yeah. Last night in overtime, in the Jersey, the Devils beat the Blues. Go Devils! Go Devils! At Scott. The Blues suck this year, and the Devils are doing it without Jack Hughes, so we love that. So, with that, we'll get back to food, family, and football. We already did what we're thankful for. We already talked about the dishes and what we're looking forward to there. The last thing I'll ask you, Ryan, are dessert wise, are you going for pumpkin pie? Are you going for pie? What are you going for?
Oh, controversial here. Not a pumpkin pie guy.
That's
Never
fair.
liked it.
That's fair. Did
Never
you?
been a fan.
Scott Van Pelt actually said the same thing. He said, everybody has this homemade pumpkin pie recipe, and he's like, guess what the filling is? It's just canned filling. Everybody's there. Everybody's
Yep.
this canned filling. So Scott Van Pelt would agree with you.
I think it's a little overrated. I go for the chocolate. Anything chocolate, I will
Anything
go
chocolate.
after.
Interesting. Okay, so I will say I'm a pie guy. I will go for usually there's a cherry pie. My grandma or my aunt will make a cherry pie, so I'm a cherry pie guy. But on Thanksgiving, just Thanksgiving, I don't touch it on Christmas. Even though some people have it on Christmas, I will have a little slice of pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. I have one slice of pumpkin pie a year, and it's usually
Okay.
on Thanksgiving.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, you get a little whipped cream on it. I would eat it if there was nothing else around. Another thing that we always have is sour cream and raisin pie, which is a similar idea. It's like a spice pie. It's got raisins in there. Is my granddad's favorite, so it does hit home a little bit. But somehow it's just a little bit. There's just different enough in the pumpkin pie that it tastes a little bit better.
Hmm, interesting. I've never ever had that. Don't think we'll be having that at the Thanksgiving I'm going to today. But if I'm ever around, I'm out to try that. It definitely sounds interesting. Interesting for sure.
And before we wrap up, I just have to say, thankful for my wonderful best friend and co-host of this podcast here. Uh, Big year for him. Got married. Is back in the playoffs. Devils are playing good. So just a great year for him, and for 20 odd years now, been thankful for you. But
Love it.
figured it's a good day to say it.
Love it, love it. Obviously thankful for you too. You were the one that really I think fueled bringing the podcast back, and I've done a lot to make sure it's back. So thankful for all of that. Thankful that the Chiefs' annoyance has dropped just a little bit. Might be because of their record this year. Thankful that you're kind of rooting for New England just a little bit this year now.
They had to get out of the dumps.
Yeah, we had many years of friendship where you were not. So thankful for that. Uh, the jersey
Well, when
actually.
they were, it was a lot less. It was a lot more difficult to root for them when they were cheating. So
you know the jersey that you see here was Ryan's idea too. What his wedding gift to me, and the boys helped with that one. But so obviously shout out shout out and thankful for you too, Ryan. But I think that's a great way to end it. As we said, friends, family, football, fantasy football, and food. You got three
A lot of F's.
wonderful, yeah, 3-4 wonderful days of it this weekend. So I hope everybody enjoys. Everybody be safe and.